I will also point out that Judge Katsubai has required litigants who come before him to refer to one another by their preferred pronouns and pressured party to include their gender pronouns on their signature block. Now, I've litigated cases in front of a lot of judges. I've never seen a judge do this anywhere in the country, and it gives you a sense of just how extreme and radical this is. He's going to impose his ideology on you. If you're a litigant, you will knuckle under to this extreme ideology. He also proclaimed that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is the heart and soul of the court system. In fact, he went on to say, can we say that? Yeah, I just did, and I'm saying it proudly.
Okay, did you just see that? That clip you just watched is Senator Ted Cruz on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and that is one of the most direct takedowns I've seen in a congressional hearing in a long time. We are about to watch the full thing together. Now look, I know Ted Cruz is a polarizing figure. I know some of you clicked on this video ready to disagree with everything I'm about to say. That's fine.
Stay. Watch.
Because I want to look at the actual substance of what he's saying and ask honestly, is he wrong? We're talking about a federal judicial nominee with a documented record. We're talking about rulings that directly affected real people during some of the most violent unrest this country has seen in decades. And we're talking about a Senate confirmation process that deserves serious scrutiny, whether you like Cruz or not. So before we dive in, I'm asking one thing. Watch it with an open mind. Because by the end of this reaction, even the skeptics are going to have some questions. If you're new here, welcome. Hit subscribe because this is what we do here. Real commentary, real opinions, no fluff. Now, let's get into it.
The nomination will be favorably reported to the floor. Next is Mustafa Kujubai, nominated to the District of Oregon. Does anyone seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cruz.
Mr. Chairman, I've spoken about this nominee in the past, and there's a pattern when Democrats have problematic nominees, ones that would be embarrassing if their support for those nominees were widely publicized. They do what they're doing today, which is they flood the zone with nominees and they pack the objectionable ones in the middle, hoping no one notices. Well, Mustafa Kujubai is a particularly extreme nominee. President Biden has nominated his fair share of wild leftists, but it's not often that one has such a clear track record of, among other things, advocating for Marxist outcomes. Judge Katsubai has previously advocated for, quote, the integration of Marxist theory into the American economic system, and he has argued for a creative struggle to, quote, redefine property. He's not even bothering to hide his radicalism. And by the way, my colleague Senator Booker accused Republicans of McCarthyism, even if he wasn't sure if it was Eugene, Joe, or Kevin. But I would note that when I said Democrats are behaving as the Russian Politburo, I was not calling you communists. I was instead pointing to action. What did the Politburo do? It behaved like docile sheep doing whatever dear leader required. Your behaviors can refute the Politburo by having one Democrat vote no on one nominee, but none of you will. You all will do. You behave like the Politburo, which is why I said you behave like the Politburo. And here you have an instance to do so, to decide whether or not you want to vote for a nominee who has advocated for Marxism. Now, that's your choice. But if you always follow the orders of the White House, no matter how extreme the nominee is, then you shouldn't be surprised when you're compared to the Politburo, because that's what the Politburo did. I will also point out that Judge Katsubai has required litigants who come before him to refer to one another by their preferred pronouns and pressured party to include their gender pronouns on their signature block. Now, I've litigated cases in front of a lot of judges. I've never seen a judge do this anywhere in the country, and it gives you a sense of just how extreme and radical this is. He's going to impose his ideology on you. If you're a litigant, you will knuckle under to this extreme ideology. He also proclaimed that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is the heart and soul of the court system. In fact, he went on to say, can we say that? Yeah, I just did, and I'm saying it proudly. Senator Booker, who is my friend, who I work with quite a bit, said that all of the Democrats are horrified by what's happening on college campuses. I wish that were a true statement. But I don't see Democrats speaking up, taking on the anti-Semitism at college campuses, taking on the DEI that is resulting in Jewish students feeling persecuted because radicals treat Jews as oppressors and treat Hamas terrorists as victims. I certainly don't want federal judges making decisions on the basis of race or vague expressions of leftist ideology. There's a reason that Lady Justice is blind, because a judge is not supposed to show prejudice or preference one way or the other for any race, for any religion. A judge is supposed to follow the law. And finally, what was particularly concerning was Judge Katsubai's actions during the violent riots we saw all across the country in 2020. When Portland, Oregon suffered months of violence at the hands of Antifa rioters, specifically singling out the Marco Hatfield Federal Courthouse for attack, for 60 days, 6-0, radicals laid siege to a federal courthouse, attempting to set it on fire, throwing Molotov cocktails, fighting federal officers, injuring law enforcement officers day after day after day, even using lasers to permanently damage the eyes of some of the officers. Well, the city of Eugene saw what was happening in Portland and tried to prevent that from happening in Eugene, Oregon. But Eugene is where Judge Katsubai presided. The city of Eugene sought to enforce a curfew to prevent similar violence in Eugene. And what did Judge Katsubai do? He blocked it. Not only did he block it, he retaliated against the city manager that enacted the curfew and the police chief that enforced the curfew. He denied them qualified immunity, in essence, throwing them to the wolves to be sued for trying to protect the citizens of Eugene, Oregon, and keep them safe. If you want to know whether a federal judge is going to stand with violent mobs or the citizens, you can look to this case and decide. And if you want to know whether the Senate Democrats are going to stand with the violent mobs or the citizens, you can look to their vote in just a moment and see as well. And again, that is not by association, my friend. That is your actions. When you say the word I over and over and over again, no matter the record, your actions are defining what you're doing. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, he invoked my name. I hate to slow things up, but he did not, to the record, he clarified that he's not calling us communists. He's calling all Democrats docile sheep. This from a guy who's afraid to face me in basketball since we've gotten here. I will quote to you simply from one of my toxic masculinity heroes, Mark Wayne Mullen. I quote, "Anytime, any place, cowboy."
The quote from that same senator, now's the time, now's the place. Where's Bernie asking us to settle down?
Sorry, we have a flood of nominees. Next is Mustafa Kazuai, nominated District of Oregon. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Whitehouse.
Aye.
Ms. Klobuchar.
Aye.
Mr. Cruz.
Aye.
Mr. Blumenthal.
Aye.
Ms. Verona. Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Padilla.
Aye.
Mr. Ossoff. Mr. Welch. Butler. Mr. Grant.
No by proxy.
Mr. Grassley.
No by proxy.
Mr. Cornyn.
No.
Mr. Lee.
No by proxy.
Mr. Cruz. Mr. Hawley.
No by proxy.
Mr. Cotton.
No by proxy.
Mr. Kennedy.
No by proxy.
Mr. Tillis.
No by proxy.
Mrs. Blackburn.
No by proxy.
Chair Durbin.
Aye.
Chair Durbin, on this vote, the ayes are 11 and the nays are 10.
Nomination will be favorably reported to the floor. Next is Edward Keel, nominated to the District of New Jersey. Anyone seek recognition? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Whitehouse.
Aye.
Ms. Klobuchar.
Aye.
Mr. Cruz.
Aye.
Mr. Blumenthal.
Aye.
Ms. Perono. Mr. Booker. Mr. Padilla. Mr. Ossoff.
You sure you want
Mr.
that?
Welch. Ms.
Sure you want
Butler.
that chair?
Mr. Graham.
No by proxy.
Mr. Grassley.
No by proxy.
Mr. Cornyn.
No.
Mr. Lee.
No by proxy.
Mr. Cruz. No. Mr. Holly.
No by proxy.
Mr. Cotton.
No by proxy.
Mr. Kennedy.
No by proxy.
Mr. Tillis.
No by proxy.
Mrs. Blackburn.
No by proxy.
Chair Durbin.
Aye.
Chair Durbin, on this note, the ayes are 11, the nays are 10.
The nomination will be favorably reported to the floor. Next is Yumi Lee to the Northern District.
All right, we've seen the whole thing. Let me break it down. Cruz opens with a flooding the zone point that Democrats deliberately sandwich controversial nominees between uncontroversial ones, hoping the problematic picks slip through unnoticed. Whether you agree with his politics or not, that is a tactically valid observation about how the confirmation process works. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a scheduling strategy, and Cruz is calling it out. That's his job. Then there's the Marxist theory argument. Cruz claims Casuy has a documented record of advocating for integrating Marxist theory into the American economic system and redefining property rights. These aren't vague accusations. They're cited positions. And when you're confirming someone to a lifetime appointment on the federal bench, judicial philosophy matters enormously. A federal judge is not supposed to be an ideological activist. The pronoun mandate stood out to me too. Cruz says Casuy required litigants to use preferred pronouns in his courtroom and pressured parties to include them in signature blocks. You can personally support that practice all you want, but a federal courtroom is governed by law, not the personal ideology of the judge sitting in it. If a judge is imposing his worldview on the process itself, what does that tell you about how he'll handle the actual cases in front of him? That's a fair question. The DEI comment is similar. Casuy reportedly called DEI the heart and soul of the court system, the one institution in this country that is supposed to be completely blind to identity. Cruz's reference to Lady Justice isn't just a nice image. It's the foundational principle of impartial justice. The moment a judge starts ruling through the lens of identity politics, you don't have a court anymore. And that should concern everyone, not just conservatives. But the strongest part of the whole hearing was the Eugene curfew case. This is not abstract debate. This is a judge who watched 60 days of siege in Portland, federal officers blinded by lasers, Molotov cocktails thrown at a federal courthouse, and when Eugene tried to prevent the same thing happening in his own city, he blocked the curfew. Then he went further and denied qualified immunity to the city manager and police chief who were simply trying to protect their citizens. He left them personally exposed to lawsuits for doing their jobs. That is not judicial restraint. That is a judge picking a side. Now Booker's response. I'll be fair, he's a sharp communicator and he's quick on his feet. But notice what he didn't do. He didn't address a single substantive point Cruz raised. He made it personal, got a laugh, and moved on. That's not a rebuttal. That's deflection. When someone puts a documented record of rulings and stated positions on the table, he called us docile sheep, is not an answer. And on the Politburo comparison, Cruz was clear he wasn't calling Democrats communists. He was making a behavioral point. When every single Democrat votes yes on every single nominee regardless of the record, that is an independent judgment. That is bloc voting on command. If just one Democrat had voted no on Casuy, Cruz's entire argument falls apart. Not one did. So here's where I land. Cruz walked into that hearing with receipts. Specific citations, specific rulings, specific statements. You don't have to like him. You don't have to agree with him on everything. But in that room, he did exactly what a senator on a Judiciary Committee is supposed to do. He scrutinized a nominee, raised substantive concerns, and put it on the record. Federal judges serve for life. These are not temporary appointments. These are people who will shape the legal landscape of this country long after the politicians who confirmed them are gone. The least we can do is take the vetting process seriously. Cruz did that. And that's worth acknowledging. Drop a comment below. I want to know what you think. Did Cruz make valid points, or is this all political theater? If you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. See you in the next one.